was done in the hope that Japan could achieve sufficient success that the Americans would feel it wasn't worthwhile going on.
From carriers 370 kilometers out in the Pacific, the Japanese had launched pre-dawn. The first waves fell on Pearl Harbor at 7:40 a.m. In that first attack, 40 torpedo bombers, 49 high-level bombers, 41 dive bombers, and 43 fighters swept around the west of the island of Oahu to hook up into the great naval base, the natural harbor in the south of the island. The first attack lasted for 30 minutes.
We were thinking about the Army Air Force. They used to have maneuvers on Sunday mornings. We said that they're kind of early this morning. Then pretty soon we saw a bomb drop.
Out of a clear sky came the treacherous Japanese attack on Hawaii. The whole world knows now how Japan assaulted the American naval base without warning, without a declaration of war, and while her envoys were actually negotiating in Washington.
In addition to anchorages, the first attack had targeted air bases: Wheeler Field, Hickam Field, Kaneohe, and Ewa, grounding any possible opposition to the second raid. There were 354 American aircraft on the island, of which 188 were destroyed and 159 damaged. 7 escaped unscathed. At 8:50 a.m., the second wave hooked in from the opposite side of the island and pounded its targets for more than an hour. The force comprised 54 high-level bombers and 78 dive bombers with fighter support. The defenders had organized their anti-aircraft fire by this time.
And we went up to our battle stations and fired at planes coming over. And it went on for a couple hours.
Of the 29 Japanese aircraft lost in the raid, 20 were in the second wave.
There's no question that it would have been worthwhile for the Japanese to attempt another attack. And they should have been going for the oil tanks and for the dockyard facilities in order to reduce the capacity of Pearl Harbor to be the base in the Pacific from which the Americans could then mount their further attacks.
They did not have enough screening vessels, and had they not so much launched a third strike, had they stayed in the area, they probably would have netted the Enterprise, which was nearby. So they had the forces there, but they were very worried about being so far out, lacking screening vessels, that they pulled away a bit too early.
94 warships were in the harbor. 18 were sunk or suffered serious damage. But of the 5 battleships that were sunk, 3 were to return to service. One that did not, and remains today as a memorial to the date that will live in infamy, was the Arizona. 4 out of every 5 men aboard the Arizona were killed. 1,100 out of the 2,403 American fatalities on that day.
A lot of the guys were caught in fires and jumped over the side. Some of them drowned, some of them burned to death, some of them. But I was one of the lucky ones in that case, though.
As a mathematical statement, Pearl Harbor was a battle lost for the Americans. But the port's infrastructure was largely intact, and there were no carriers in Pearl Harbor when the attack came in.